I have a friend who's a director who works in LA, and I talked to him and said, would he be able to find out who does the casting? And he was. And he spoke to the casting director. And also it was him who said, I'm the grandson, so I didn't have to show off, which, it's embarrassing. And and that way I got in touch with the casting director, and we set up a meeting in Berlin, and I did my casting, and I had to meet the producers and the director and so forth. And eventually, after a long, long wait, they gave me a small part.
What kind of man was your grandfather?
It really is a difficult question. I have two sources. One is family. There's slightly more, I suppose, emotional stories that come from there. And I've got the picture that the historians paint. Sometimes it overlaps, sometimes it diverges. I think he was quite a modern man. He was, and I think he was very hard to pin down in terms, for example, of convictions. It's very hard to say what he stood for example, politically, which is why after the war, once the Germans had gotten over the idea that he was a traitor, all political directions wanted to claim him as one of their heroes. So it's really difficult. But apart from that, I think he loved children. I think he was a very open person. It's always said that he's the kind of guy who would work with the daughter's office open. Everybody was welcome to come in, and he would deal with any problem that anybody had, and so forth.
The image that Tom Cruise portrays in the film, did you feel that was fair and accurate to what you know from your family about your grandfather?
I think so. Of course, we must remember that also, most of the film happens in a day. It's quite a pressured day. I mean, today it was a stressful day at the office. Tom is doing a fabulous job to bring that atmosphere of pressure and yet trying to stay calm across to the audience. I think that's lovely. There were other sides to my granddad. There's little time to show them, although there is a scene where through the children where they're trying to hint at that. And I think that's the great achievement of Chris and Nathan, the writers, is that they managed to bring some of those facets of my grandfather into the film. But of course, they don't get a lot of time.
Can you explain to me how your family felt about the movie being made?
I would say the majority was positive about the making of the film and curious about the result. Some of them didn't think it was a good idea. Some of them object in principle. They don't think it's the sort of theme that should be fictionalized. And that's all fair. So, completely different views. I liked the project from the start, obviously, partially, but both, not just because I'm an actor, also as a grandson. I think it's a great story. It's great to tell the story. And it's fabulous that it can be told internationally rather than just locally.
I'd love to hear about your own involvement and your experiences of filming, because you do have a small role in the film. Can you tell me what it was like on set?
Oh, the set was awesome. There's a guy standing in front, he looks exactly like Hitler, and you're just taken aback for a breath or two. And then you remember that it's, that's the guy I met this morning, and he's really nice. And then, of course, there's the fact that this is part of my family's history as well. So, they've recreated places that don't exist anymore, have been destroyed or whatever, where my grandfather sort of walked and worked and so forth. And that's, of course, it's interesting. It was never emotional, funnily enough. You always know that at the end of the day, it's just wooden paper. But it's really interesting.